What's up guys, so welcome back to our channel and welcome back for another toy unboxing. Let's go! Okay guys, to hype up more of our Spider-Man No Way Home release celebrations, we will be adding up to the unboxing series this Kotobukiya, ARTFX Plus, the Defender series, Daredevil figure. Okay, so we already know, for those who were able to watch the Spider-Man No Way Home and for those who were able to check the Wikipedia of the Spider-Man No Way Home update, we already know that Charlie Cox reprises his role as Matt Murdock in the movie. And we know that Charlie Cox is the character or the actor who played Matt Murdock and Daredevil in the Netflix Marvel series Daredevil. Okay, so the Daredevil in Marvel Netflix series runs up to 3 seasons before it was cancelled, and it just fits for us to be unboxing this character since it's part of the Spider-Man No Way Home that we are doing in this series. So let's move on to the next camera and let's crack this open. Let's go. Okay, so let's start with the box here. So in front you will see the actual figure of the Daredevil here. At the bottom you will see the Defender series Daredevil ARTFX Plus statue, a 10th scale pre-painted model kit, Marvel logo, ARTFX logo or ARTFX Plus logo, Kotobukiya logo, and at the back you will see the full Daredevil figure here on his side view, plus an illustration of the Daredevil here and some profile picture of the Billy Club or the stick that Daredevil is using on his Daredevil suit or costume, together with a what I call this one, you can reshape or rethink on what pose would you like to have to the wire included onto the club. Okay, so the artwork here is from Dale Keown or Keown. I just don't know if that's how you pronounce that one, but the illustration here is, or the artwork here is from Dale Keown. So we are not seeing here an illustration or a design from the store. Okay, so at the sides here we will see the Daredevil logo here, Daredevil on his sides, Kotobukiya logo on top. Okay, at the bottom you will see here Marvel logo. On the other side is just the reverse of that side, still Kotobukiya logo, and you will see here the 1/10 scale figure snap fit, and at the top you will see the Marvel logo, the Defender series Daredevil ARTFX Plus statue 10th scale pre-painted model kit, and at the bottom some information about this figure. So by the way, before we head on to opening this one, actually this was released in 2 variants. The first variant, or actually they were released together at the same time. So there are 2, the red one and the black one. So I chose the red one because I think it fits onto the natural color of Daredevil. We all know, for those who are fan of Daredevil, that he is also known for the yellow costume or yellow plus black costume, but this one is the most popular. As for the MCU version of Charlie Cox Daredevil, it's using the red costume or the red final costume of the Daredevil. Okay, so let's head on to opening this one. By the way, I was able to open this one before. I posted a picture on my Instagram about the cancellation of the Daredevil Netflix series. So this is the second time I am opening this one. Okay, so this is how the figure looks like. So there are 1, 2, 3, 4 parts for this figure, plus the club with the wire and the base. So actually there are already 6 to count on these parts. Okay, so moving on, let's start with the figure. Okay, so let's head on first onto the body here. Okay, so the body here is actually a full body without the arms. I don't know if you can see this one. Let me just refocus this. There you go. Okay, so a pretty much familiar face for Daredevil, wherein you will see his head, or together with his suit, has this red thing on his eyes. So his actual eyes are covered in red. Something like I don't know if it's a shade or a contact lens, but actually he uses red shaded eye when he's in costume form. We also see here the horn. That's very typical to the Daredevil suit, and the shade of this red is actually astonishing. You will see, I don't know if you can see it properly on the camera, but it's a full red costume, but you will see some shading here of black onto the edges of these muscles, as well as to the Daredevil logo here, or the DD logo. It's popping out onto its costume. I really like how the face looks onto this suit. It's like the Daredevil that you will see in costumes on comics, as well as to the MCU version of the Daredevil. Okay, so there you go. This is the upper body of this Daredevil figure. Okay, moving on to the arms here. Let's start with the left one. Okay, so the left arm here is actually as the same with the body here. Red, shine bright red with some shadings of black onto the edges of the muscles. But onto the gloves here, you will see the separation of the color here is somehow like a darker color or darker red version or paint on these gloves. Okay, so it's somehow like a closed fist pose here, and later on we will be inserting the glove and how we fit the glove onto his hands. Okay, so moving on to the right arm here. Okay, so the right arm is also the same. It has this shiny bright red color with dark shades onto the muscles, and the darker red part of the arm is actually the gloves, and it has the same pose as to the other arm, which is a closed fist with a hole for the glove. Okay, moving on to the last part of this figure is the lower body. Okay, so the lower body here is actually the same with the arms and the typical color of this Daredevil character. We have the shiny bright red with some shadings here, and okay, so what's new here is just this holster for his gun. No, he's not using a gun, his glove, by the way, but you will see here that it's not open, or you cannot insert the glove onto his holster. So that's that's not good for should I say something like a plus for the detail, but nevertheless the glove is already onto his hands, and I believe that's better for Daredevil to be holding it on his posing or his character while he's on to battle. Okay, so onto his boots, it has the darker color, same with the gloves, darker color red, and at the bottom you will see here back is the magnets. So both feet has magnets, of course, for the support onto his base. Okay, so let's just assemble this one first before moving on to the other parts of this figure. Okay, so these are basically snap fit. I really like how this figure is something like it has a weight. It's not what do you call this one? It's not too light, but this figure is really small for a 10 scale figure. Okay, so adding up to the other side of the body here, the left arm, let me just push a little bit. Okay, this figure is pretty much solid. Okay, so this is how this figure looks like. Okay, so let's move on to the other parts or the rest of the parts of this figure. So let me just put this aside. Okay, so here is the other parts of this figure. So the other parts includes the base as well as to the club. Okay, it fell. That's just okay. It's just okay. A little bit hard. Okay, so there you go. So let's start with the base here. So the base here is actually the first version of the ARTFX Plus series released on the Kotobukiya ARTFX Plus lineup. So these are just the typical block, magnetic block, and Marvel Now logo or Marvel Now here, Marvel.com, Marvel made in China, and just plain plastic here. And okay, there you go. This one has a little bit of what they call this, a little bit of somehow like it's not so strong, just like to the Spider-Man series that we opened, because of the Spider-Man series is actually a magnet all throughout the base, but this one on top is actually something like a plastic. I believe if we try to open this base, the metal part is sitting inside this base. But okay, so this one is a little bit too not so strong for the magnet of the base. So moving on to the last part here, let me just pick it up because it fell down. Okay, so we're back here. The club, or usually this is the stick when he is not Daredevil. Okay, so the club here is composed of two materials. Okay, so we have here a plastic material. It's not bendable, it's not soft, but this one is an actual wire that you can bend. Okay, so I don't know how should this club looks, or the wire for this club looks, but let's try to insert it first onto this figure. Okay, so there's no left and right for this club, just try to insert everything here. Okay, I hope I will not scratch this club every time we insert this on his hands. Okay, so pushing it a little bit lower. Okay, so there you go. So I don't know how this wire should look like, but maybe let's try to follow something like a jumping rope looks of this wire. Okay, so maybe this one will be fine for this moment. I don't know how this really looks like, so let's just put it on this way. Okay, so this is your ARTFX Plus, the Defender series Daredevil figure. Okay, so I really like how the red here pops out onto this figure. Actually, it's not that plain, it's not a plain red color paint, but it has these shadings of black putting out onto his muscles here, the abs here, and onto his logo, or the DD logo, or the Daredevil logo in front of his chest, going to his belt, the gloves, the holster for this glove, and as well as to the boots. Okay, so it's somehow like a good color separation in terms of shading, as well as to the what I call this one, using the same tone, but you will see the difference in between of these colors. Okay, so this is just your Daredevil figure. Very nicely done. I really like how this looks like, even though it's just standing here. I really like how this Daredevil really represents how Daredevil looks like onto the comics, especially to the Charlie Cox Daredevil in the Netflix series Daredevil. For the 3 seasons that I have watched that series, I really love the character, and I am just sad that it was cancelled. But now, since we already know that Charlie Cox reprises his role as a Daredevil, or Matt Murdock in the MCU movies. We are here on this series of the unboxing, adding up Daredevil onto these release celebrations. Okay, so there you go. This is your Daredevil figure. Okay, so there you go. This is your Daredevil figure. I really like how they created this figure in terms of shading. I really like how those plain colored paint pops out when they put shading on it. So this is a full suit of the Daredevil, and it somehow used to be plain if you're watching cartoons or if you're reading comics of the Daredevil, but on this figure it really pops out even though it has the same color tone, red color tone on its costume. I just don't like really what they had with this wire. I don't know what to do with this one, but I think for this one, this pose should fit onto this figure. Okay, so maybe into this magnetic base, it somehow like it's not so strong. We already know that the Spider-Man series that we opened has those metallic or metal bases, but actually this was the original base for the ARTFX Plus series, which is not so magnetic, or the magnet here is not too heavy. But if we try to what do you call this one, use the magnet, okay, as you can see, it will not fall, but maybe if we can shake just like that, it will really fall at once. Okay, so because it will slide actually, unlike to the metal base of those Spider-Man that we opened, that it's actual metal touching the what do you call this one, touching the metal or the magnets on at the bottom of this feet or foot of this figure. That's why it's really sticking there, and actually it's very strong, unlike to this one that it has a plastic surface, and for sure the friction or the traction of this magnet is not too strong when put into the base. Maybe it's just a small problem there, but for sure you will not be holding or posing these figures just like this one, holding it like that, since we will be posting it onto your display cabinet if you have this figure. So overall, I like this figure. I like how manly, I like how buff this Daredevil figure is. The tone of the muscles are just enough to show how masculine is Daredevil or Matt Murdock here onto his Daredevil costume. Maybe a little bit of something here, just like the detail of this holster for his club. Maybe they could have put something like a hole so we can retract or return this club onto his pockets of this club. Okay, so maybe that's just a few details that they missed, but nevertheless, this figure is very nicely done. I really like how they created the standing pose here. It's somehow like it's not dynamic as per se for just like those premier figures that we already opened, but this figure is just nicely done. It's just perfect for its pose. And stay tuned for more of this Defender series because we will be opening more to complete all of the Defenders on this channel. So if you have something to comment about this one, don't forget to write it on the comment section below. Don't forget to like this video if you like this video. Don't forget to subscribe because we still have more of this unboxing series, and notify yourself every time we upload new contents on the channel. Power lang, pataas. Bye-bye!